This article from Android Central is talking about how Google's Pixel 5 may ditch Project Soli and Motion Sense. Google seems set to drop a failed idea. So, what you need to know: Google's Pixel 5 may ditch the Soli radar chip. Project Soli powered the motion sense feature of the Pixel 4 and 4 XL. It also drained battery and added little benefit to the phone's experience as a whole. I guess that's a fair question to ask you guys. For anyone who's had a Pixel 4, for anyone who's had a Pixel 4 out or Pixel 4 XL, how has Project Soli been for you? Has it been beneficial, or, like the article says here, has it added little benefit to your phone experience? For me personally, it hasn't done much for me. I really haven't seen much benefit from, this radar chip. Uh, Potentially it could get better, but if now they're going to drop it, then that means they're just going to completely ditch it again. So I don't know. We'll see. With the Pixel 4, Google brought a new feature, Motion Sense, to the Pixel line. Powered by the innovative Project Soli, Motion Sense added a layer of mystique to the Pixel 4. When it first came out, I was kind of looking forward to it, but there was also a part of me that was in the back of my head. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be as good as they say it is. And I feel like I wasn't wrong. You'd be able to control your phone from a distance. It's a fancy feature undercut by the inconvenient fact that a smartphone is 99% of the time located in your hand, but you have to give Google points for trying, I guess. As it stands, while Motion Sense is, quote, a nice gesture, nice to have gesture, it doesn't really add much that can't be accomplished by more conventional and convenient means. As far as Project Soli, as far as Motion Sense, I tried it, but it wasn't anything for me to keep around, and I ended up disabling it because I just felt like it was draining my battery. If I could have maybe used it for things to I've said this before. One of the things that I loved about my old Moto X was the fact that I could just wave my hand over the phone and it would show me the display, the always, or, to let me know what time it was, to show me notifications. And even when I turned that gesture, or when I turned that feature back on my Pixel 4, it still didn't work as well as what the Moto X did. And that's all I really would have used it for. I don't use it to wave my hand over to like next track, pause the track. I can't even use it to like, imagine if I could go like this or like that to like raise the volume or scroll through a page while I'm like cooking or something. But I got none of that. That's none of those features I was able to use with Project Soli. Not to think that it couldn't come in the future, but now if they're thinking about dropping it, what was all of this for? They're talking about this Google survey, and part of the surveys in this article, I skimmed it real quick, but Google survey hints at a $349 Pixel 4a and a $699 Pixel 5. The $350 price point for the Pixel 4a is something I covered on last Friday, and it was something I was really excited about, again, because if it comes at this $350 price point, it is, first of all, it's going to undercut the iPhone SE. Second of all, they were saying $350 with 128 gigs of internal storage, which was something out of left field. I did not expect $350 plus 128 gigs of internal storage on a Pixel 4a that would have a Snapdragon 730 chipset reportedly, that would have 6 gigs of RAM reportedly, which would still have the rear fingerprint reader, which would have a 3.5mm headphone jack. These are all great things, which would have stock Android and which would have a very close to Pixel 4 kind of camera, which means an excellent camera, all at $350. A phone that, I've said this, I would probably recommend to a lot of people, especially at that price point. But let's continue on. The next several months are going to be some of the most interesting for Google and its Pixel line, probably since the debut of the original. After 2 rough releases in a row, the Pixel 3 and Pixel 4 both flopped. Google saw a shakeup in its Pixel team and now might be preparing for a new approach that involves more competitive pricing. I guess a question that I have is, what's considered a flop? Because of the sales? I don't know. That's hard for me to swallow, because for me, I don't know if a phone flops just because of the sales. I could give two shits about sales. I don't care how many phones, you know, an iPhone 11 Pro sold. I don't care how many phones a Samsung Galaxy S20 sold, S10, whatever. That shouldn't be an indicator of success or a flop. I mean, I guess it is because we live in a capitalist society and whatever. But, you know, for me, whether or not a phone is successful or a failure is how it fares to the consumer and how well that overall experience is to the consumer. And again, you might disagree with me, but what I do here on my channel, what I do is I champion for, you know, the consumer, for the person that wants to use their hard-earned money and spend it properly. That's why I do these camera comparisons, so you guys can see how these phones compare to each other. Well, and also because it's fucking interesting for me, so I do it. And I like to point those things out, and I like to share that with you guys because I try to give as much of an unbiased review as I can. Anyway, a rumor last week suggested that the Pixel 4a might win the spring launch season with a $349 price tag, coupled with 128 gigs of storage when it shows up soon. Again, a great price. If you take a recent Google survey that popped up for a Redditor as a sign of things to come, Google might actually hit that price for the 4a while also delivering a cheaper regular Pixel 5 further down the road. So this survey that this Redditor got is, which one would you rather pick? And you can see here, $350 or $700. That's where these prices came up. For $350, a radically helpful phone from Google with a durable plastic body includes a 3.5mm headphone jack, $350. Or $700, a premium Google Pixel phone, the best flagship Google phone, first access to the latest Google features and innovation, best-in-class camera, wireless charging, and water resistance. So those are the things that survey is what came up. That's where these price points came about. As far as 128 gigs of internal storage, I think that was something that was leaked on either 9 to 5 Google. I can't remember exactly, but let's continue on. And now that you guys know where these prices came from. So the survey, which you can see below, asks the participant if they had two options of Google Pixel smartphones, which would they prefer to buy? The first option is for a $349 Google Pixel phone that is radically helpful. Blah, blah, blah. We read all of these already. Or, you know, a best-in-class camera, water resistance, and more for $699. Neither phone has a name in the survey, but again, recent rumors have suggested well, I mean, it did say a Google Pixel phone at the top of it. So while it's not that, you know, while it didn't say Pixel 5 or Pixel 4a, I mean, why would they be talking about an older Pixel phone? In case you missed it, the Pixel 5 might feature a Snapdragon 765G, or as I've reported last week, there are rumors that maybe it'll come with a Snapdragon 768G, which, according to the articles that I read, is an overclocked 765G. And that's the one I'm hoping they're going to put in the Pixel 5. The Pixel 5 most likely is not going to get the Snapdragon 865 chipset because, one, it's going to apparently cost Google too much money, and then it's in turn going to cost the consumer too much money. Really, how I feel about it is Google's not going to make as much profit, so let's put the cheaper one in there so people aren't going to bitch about the price and we still get to make our money, which, whatever. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe that's not what they're doing, but you know, $700 for a Pixel 5 with a Snapdragon 700 series chipset is not there. That is too expensive. I think it's too expensive. If you don't think it is, that's fine. I mean, you guys get to vote with your wallet. You do. If you think it's worth it, then you pay that money. And we have yet to see if it's going to be worth it. We don't know. We don't know how good the camera is going to be. We don't know how good this chipset's going to be. But let's continue on with this article here. So this change in approach could be seen as a move towards a more affordable Google flagship that includes the specs most people want without the $1,000 price tags we keep seeing from Samsung, Apple, and now OnePlus. We brought up the $700 price point for Google a couple of months ago as a way for the company to get weird and change from this losing course they have been on for the past couple of years. I tend to think that Google leaving the super high-end smartphone world would be a good thing and should instead find a space in between, sort of where OnePlus used to play but has since vacated. There aren't many excellent phones in the $700 range outside of the previous year's models. This could be an excellent opportunity for Google to slide in and make a new name for itself with phones. But again, this was a single survey, and we don't even know if Google ran it. Oh, shit. Well, we don't even know if Google ran it. So who knows? It could have been Verizon testing waters on which phones to carry for all we know. Those prices have to get you excited, though, right? And yeah, they have been they've the $350 price point is an exciting price point for me for the Pixel 4a. If that is the case, if it is going to be $350 with 128 gigs of internal storage, I will be buying that on day one. And I'll be testing out the camera and seeing how close it resembles to the Pixel 4. I'll finally get to see what a Snapdragon 730 chipset is like. And, I'll give you guys my thoughts. But here's the thing. Here's how I feel about this Pixel 5, right? A Pixel 5 at $700. We have to think about this because there are a lot of ways around this. A Pixel 5 at $700, again, is using a 765 chipset or 768. And how close in performance will that be to the Pixel 4a? Why would somebody spend $700 over $350 when you can get something that's going to be very comparable? The only way this Pixel 5 is really going to kill it this year is with its camera. It has to take that, and I say this a lot, guys. It has to take the crown back from the iPhone 11 Pro and now the upcoming iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro. And here is where I will segue into that. The iPhone 12 is reportedly coming out at a $650 price point. $650, guys. That's cheaper than this $700 reported price of a Pixel 5. Are you guys following me here? An iPhone 12 at $650 is going to come, apparently it's going to be coming with an OLED display. It's going to have the new A14 Bionic chipset. So it's going to have an even faster chipset, something that's going to easily outperform whatever Snapdragon 700 series chipset they put in the Pixel 5 easily. Performance-wise, it's going to destroy it. And then as far as support and longevity, it's going to destroy it there too, because it's going to have the best chipset. I mean, I'm not saying that the 765G or 768G isn't going to be worthwhile a year from now, but how is that going to fare 2 years from now or 3 years from now? If you switch up phones every 2 or 3 years, then that's something that you might not have to worry about. Like, I mean, what's the big deal then, right? But still, imagine paying more for a phone that, and who knows how the camera's going to be. Guys, in 2019, the iPhone 11 Pro, the iPhone 11 had a better main shooter than the Pixel 4. Can you imagine spending more money on a Pixel 5 knowing that an iPhone 12 is going to beat it in terms of its camera? That's why I'm saying that's why the Pixel 5 has to kill it this year. That's why I still do not agree with a $700 price point. Do you guys know that a Snapdragon 765 chipset does not outperform a Snapdragon 845? So think about the phones that come with the Snapdragon 845, a OnePlus 6, right? A OnePlus 6T. Those phones will probably outperform a new Pixel 5 in terms of performance. I mean, I could be wrong, maybe not, but I think the last I checked, a Snapdragon 845 chipset will still outperform whatever Snapdragon 765 comes out. It'll outperform the LG Velvet. And I think when you think in those terms, why is $700 a fair price? It doesn't sound like a fair price to me. You can go ahead and you can add water resistance. You can talk to me about the display and 90 hertz and 120 hertz, but I don't know, maybe I'm in a different category where that isn't my main priority. My main priority is performance, so I don't have lag, so that I can use it a couple years down the road. I think that should be higher. In terms of priority, I think the camera should be priority. I think the battery should be priority. And when you're pricing it at something that high, that is just something that's hard for me to swallow. It really is hard for me to swallow. I know that I do. I sit here and I bitch about the prices of phones a lot. I really do. And I just feel like I do that because I don't feel like a lot of other people do. Maybe they do now. Maybe they do with $1,000 phones, but you want to be competitive in the flagship department. The Pixel 5 has to bring it this year. They have to bring it this year. They can't be lazy about it and say, well, we're working on a chip, guys. So, the Pixel 5 is going to be a mediocre phone. Like, fuck that. There are a lot of loyal Nexus fans. There are a lot of loyal Pixel fans. And to release a Pixel 5 that's going to be kind of a watered down version that you're still going to charge $700 for, I think that's an insult. That's an insult to the consumer. And then you're just going to get a lot of shit from reviewers and tech pundits and articles releasing stuff. That is what, for me, is really what relegates whether or not a phone is successful or a flop. Fuck the sales. Who gives a fuck about the sales? I don't know who's in this chat who cares about how many phones were sold in quarter 4, quarter 3. Who gives a fuck about how, like, unless you're a shareholder and you guys got some deep pockets, or you have some vested interest in the stock price or whatever. Like, I'm not that guy. I can't afford that shit. I don't give a fuck about that. None of that is important. The fucking stock market is fucking just, dude, we work hard for our money, and we deserve a good phone. We really do. I'm that optimist that says that it should be priced at $500. That's how I feel like it's gonna do. But you know what? I mean, I'll take 599. I'll take 599. If the Pixel 4a is gonna be 350, price it at 549. I'll take it at 549. I don't know, 599 is maybe the top end of it. And I can't remember who said it in the chat here, but I don't know. Again, that's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. You guys don't have to agree, but who doesn't want to pay a better price for a phone, especially in such a competitive market today, right? Where the iPhone SE is pricing at $399, and now Google wants to double down and they want to be competitive. And if the rumors are correct and they want to price their Pixel 4a at $350, why not price the Pixel 5 at something competitive? Bring those competitive days back.